have another international guest, and it's Liza Coggins. She is an LA-based working makeup artist in television, commercials and print. She has also assisted in body painting for the Sports Illustrated models for the last 5 seasons, and her celebrity clients include Ellie Kemper, Russell Crowe, Christian Bell, Gwen Stefani, and Heidi Klum, to name a few. So will you please put your hands together and welcome Liza.
So I'm going to do 2 looks for you today, and basically the first look is going to be a little bit more toned down, very chic. It's a universally flattering look. From that look, I'm going to go and do something. Imagine I was actually at a press junket. You know, I'm with my celebrity actress client, and we're promoting her movie, and she has the premiere to go to straight from that. So I'm going to switch up the look that I'm doing for the camera, for the press junket, and then bring it into more of a smoky kind of look. Also taking into consideration the fact that the lighting is going to change, you're going to be dealing with flash photography, and also you want to make sure that this makeup is going to endure throughout the night. And what I'm actually going to apply on her skin is Ben Nye Media Pro. Right? This is fantastic product, fantastic for high-def TV and film. It has a sheer coverage, and when you have such pretty skin, people think that they need to cover up everything and totally mask their faces, when in actual fact, you just need to, it's only a certain percentage of your skin you might need to actually touch up or put a heavier coverage on. So I'm going to start with this, then I'm going to go in and do some concealing. I'm going to start here, I hope I'm not blocking anybody, and quickly apply, and then I like to use these blender sponges just to take off any of the excess. It really gives a lovely kind of dewy look to the skin, even when set with powder. It looks hydrated and healthy.
The Media Pro Sheer Foundations are available in individual containers as well.
I didn't put an eye primer on her eye, but I'm going to put a little bit of concealer on there and then set it with powder, just to stop the eyelids from sweating, so her eye makeup stays on. See, this actually just blends seamlessly before I even hit her jaw. Next thing I'm going to do is do concealer. I don't do it beforehand, because I put on concealer beforehand, then I go to put the base on. Also, it helps prevent the concealer from building up and clogging on the skin if you're putting another product on top of it. So I'm going to use actually Ben Nye's matte base here. It's a much more dense pigment, and it has a really nice finish. So I typically take a little brush like this, nice and loose. Usually you'd be using concealer under the eyes, around the nose, maybe a little bit here around her mouth. She really doesn't need it because her skin is so good, but we'll do it anyway just to show you. The first thing I'm going to do on her lids when applying, I'm going to run my finger over the eyelid and remove any excess oils that might be sitting there, so that the concealer gets a good hold on her skin. And then when I set this with powder, this is actually a great base for eyeshadow, and it'll help stop it from sweating. While the base is still wet, I'm going to look at some cream blush and also contour. And this is a great palette right here. It has got contour colors in it. It's the exact same consistency and formula as the high definition, the Media Pro. So when it's applied on top of it, they blend seamlessly together. So they're really great, great kind of product to layer. The color I'm going to start with is Blushing Rose. Just load it up on your brush, get rid of the excess, and then smile for me. Putting a little touch of it in the apple of her cheek. Now, this look that I'm going to do for you today it's a natural look, but also everything that I'm going to do, the techniques I'm going to use, I'm concentrating on defining certain features so that they really pop. All right? It's not something that's going to look incredibly obvious, but it's really, really effective. A little contouring we can do right now as well. And for contouring, I'm going to use the same palette, and I'm going to dip into this color right here. This is Neutral. Again, it's the same formula as the High Def Media Pro. And where I'm going to start, I'm not going to go over the top of contouring. I'm just going to give it a suggestion of it. So if you feel right here, if you use your finger like that, and you can actually put it on your face, you can feel the jaw, you can feel the bone structure. I'm going to run a shade close to that and bring it down towards her mouth. You see, there isn't that much on my brush either. This is going to be subtle. And I'm lifting up here around her chin just to give that a little bit more definition. Now I can go back with my foundation brush and blend. I'm just blending upwards into the bone, or the jaw, or cheekbone, like that. And as I'm doing that, I'm actually blending it into the base and also into the blush. I'm going to just dip back into my base. We see here we have two light shades. I'm going to dip into this. Apply a little on her chin. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing out certain areas of her face now. A little bit on her chin, tip of her nose, and right here on her forehead. And it's very light contouring. It's nothing too dramatic or severe. Just enough to highlight and emphasize and define features without taking over the whole look. So I'm taking my powder puff and a little bit of Cameo loose powder. I like to actually really work the powder into the powder puff and then take it and go around my hand like that to make sure it's completely covered, and then hit it, get rid of the excess. Before, though, I use this, I will go with a brush and take a little bit underneath her eye, if you look upwards. Just to get into those areas that are a little bit more difficult to get.
This is from our luxury powder series: Cameo, Beige Suede, Buff, Banana, and a number of olive to brown tones.
This is a step you can't really forget if you want the makeup to last. You really do need to actually set it with a little bit of powder. And I prefer, as I said, a powder puff because I'm pressing it in and I'm sealing it as I'm doing it. Now, when it comes to her eyes, I'm going to load up the powder puff again and go back over and remove any excess concealer because already it's starting to settle into her crease line. And then I press it with the powder puff. I'm going to work from these palettes here. They're matte shadows. They're really excellent. There's every color that you could possibly need for really beautiful eye makeup. And then I also will use some of the Pearl Sheen palettes. I don't know if you've tried these. They're beautiful on, really lightly, heavily pigmented, but very lovely sheen. It's not a glittery effect at all. And you can apply them wet or dry. Now, with eyeshadow in this look in particular is more about sculpting and defining rather than taking away from the whole look. The colors that I'm going to be using are like neutral tones, but the sculpting in itself and where I'm going to apply it is really important to make the most and emphasize the eye shape and really bring it out. One of the advantages of using a base shadow all over the lid is that I'm going to be applying additional shadows, similar texture, on top of it. So you have that nice powdery base. When you go to apply these and then blend, they're going to glide over that powdery base that's underneath, so it makes for an easier blend and a much more polished finish. I'm taking this mid-tone taupey color, and where you want to actually apply it, you really want to create the crease, like push it back a little bit and bring out the lid. So if you look down, if you rest the brush flat on the eyeball like that and lightly push upwards, it starts to trace out the shape of the crease line. Always go over with a clean brush. I swap between a brush with pigment and one that is actually totally clean, just to blend this and move it around the shadow, to soften it. You shouldn't be able to tell where the shadow really begins and ends. It should be that subtle, like your own, as if you were not wearing any makeup at all. I like to go right in here to the crease as well and put a little pop of extra definition, just to lift the eyes. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to go in and start doing the eyeliner. Eyeliner, I like to go and use a black eyeliner. You can use any color you choose, of course, but personally, I actually like to use black always, and I like to get it right down into the very, very root of the lash to get the best out of the eye shape. Once I get the eyeliner into the lashes, then I start playing around with the shape of it. And I'm going to use this here. It's a cake eyeliner. I like it. I can play around with the consistency. And I love this little brush here. It is the Ben Nye AB12. I don't know what AB stands for, but...
Angle brush.
Let's mix in a little water. And I want to get it to the right consistency, a little creamy.
This is water activated.
Where I'm actually applying the black is right in here to the very root of the lash. And I want to get it in there really dense, really load up the base of the lashes. I'm also going to show you this here. It's the eye definers by Ben Nye. I love these guys. They're like more of a creamy eyeliner, so you have an opportunity to blend with them as well and create like a softer, more subtle look. You can see that it's very, very subtle, but it does actually give it a little bit of a pop. Now I'm going to go in and make it a little stronger. And I like to keep the inner eye thin. I think, again, it's much more flattering on, like, universally it's flattering to start with a thinner line on the inner corner and then come out. I'm going to put a little flick at the end right here. But when I'm trying to decide what angle I'm going to go when doing that look, now this rule can help you with so many different eye looks and eyeliners, cat eye, you name it. If you look at the angle the bottom lash line is going, let me see if I show you on this side. There we go. See this here? If I was to draw a line continuing that up, that to me is one of the best guidelines to use for your eyeliner and for creating that cat eye look. So I'm going to use this pen because it'd be easier for me to demonstrate. Have my Q-tips on the ready in case I make a mess. But again, if you imagine I had a ruler or even like a paper tape and I aligned it with the bottom angle of the lashes, I would put the liner along that. See that?
These are called the Precision Eyeliner Pen, and they're available in black and dark brown.
Now, once I've established the angle right there, I then go in, and from that angle, I start to fill in and bring it up to meet almost the center of the eye. Now, what I'm doing is I'm taking the eyeshadow and I'm just buffing it down into the liner, so it's softening and taking that hard edge off the black.
So that's a very effective way to set the black eye definer.
Which also, by doing this, you're actually giving you're setting the liner and also giving it longevity. As I'm buffing the shadow down, I'm also kind of lifting it out at the corner. Just lightly define the lower lash line, just very, very lightly.
So at this point, Lisa's using an eyeshadow underneath the lower lashes to frame the eyes.
Now, in applying mascara, I think the most important thing to do is to get it right down to the very root of the lashes. Deposit as much as you possibly can before you start building it up through the lashes. If you start going through the lashes like this, straight off, you're going to be applying far too much, it'll get all clumpy. Just get down, deposit it, squidge it into the very root of the lash. That's what really eyeliner and mascara's eyeliner does, really. It gives a thicker lash look, you know, and a much more defined line. And that also, you're going to be doubling up on that with mascara if you do it this way. I can deposit some on the underside and on the upper side without them getting too heavy and clumpy. And then a little extra at the end. It also helps as well before you do the mascara to maybe dust a little bit of powder on the lashes, because it'll actually help thicken them up and works with this thickening mascara, and also helps make them last throughout the day. I'm going to take base color again, and this base color is Shell from the matte palette, and go back over to help soften the line. When it comes to the next look, smoky eye, or even if you're wearing a red lipstick, it's really fresh and more contemporary to wear have a more of a natural lighter brow and a fresh, cleaner looking makeup with red lipstick and smoky eyes. It just looks that much more like less vintage, more contemporary, more modern. Nude lipstick is, I'm always asked about. How do you pick a nude lipstick? How do I know it's the right color for me? Heard been referred to as a natural look so many times. If you think about it, wearing a nude lipstick isn't really very natural looking. It really is quite a statement, and it's a really gorgeous look. The glossier, more easy to wear. The more matte they are, definitely it's much more of a statement. It's just a kind of a trial and error kind of thing. I mean, this whole palette here could be a nude for like various different skin tones. It depends on your skin tone, of course, but it isn't until you see them, if you saw these individually, they would look more nude. It isn't until you actually see them together that you actually see how the tone changes. So I'm just going to apply a little bit in the center for lips.
All of these, the colors in the natural and the fashion lip color palette are available in individual sticks as well.
I like to start off with the lipstick and then I go in and do a little definition. It's kind of a cheat, but I go in right here. Okay, that actually would be very pretty with a nice pop of red. I'm going to put some, not red, but I'm going to go back into my powder blush. And add
this works really well. Claudia has beautiful lip color.
You smile. I like to put the blush right here on the apple of the cheek and also blend it in slightly to the contour color that I've applied. It's also a nice idea if you like to take the blush. I like to put a little pop of it on her lid also because it helps grab the eyes and draws them up. So there we have our first look. It's very chic, it's very simple. She's got definition and it's not too overdone. And it is a look that basically anybody can wear.